Hi everyone, my name is Splin and every Friday I issue a video digest of the motorcycle news. This week Eicma has started, there is a lot of news, so next week we'll have a special edition of the digest. As I'm recording this video on Tuesday, the exhibition has just started, so we don't have full information on all of the new bikes. But what we've seen so far is quite interesting. The first piece of news is extremely important and surprisingly has nothing to do with Eicma. KTM is acquiring a 25.1% stake in MV Agusta. Let's see what it means. First and foremost, this means I now have 1.25 of a KTM and 0.75 of an MV as an owner of 790 Adventure and Turismo Veloce. Secondly, let's look at the deal itself. It follows another agreement which was concluded between MV Agusta and KTM in September, according to which KTM will be dealing with the distribution, promotion and customer service of the MV range in North America, its United States, Canada and Mexico. So, the deal is a logical continuation of the collaboration between two companies. According to the new strategic partnership, KTM will provide MV Agusta with supply chain support and take over the purchasing. According to the new strategic partnership, KTM will provide MV Agusta with supply chain support and take over the purchasing. MV Agusta will partially distribute its products via Pirer Mobilities, its parent company of KTM worldwide distribution network. KTM will also acquire 25.1% stake in MV by way of a capital increase, which means that the money will go to the company, not to the current owners, and this will be used to support future development. There are also rumors that following the deal MV Agusta can enter MotoGP, which would make a lot of sense for everyone. For MV, given its racing legacy, for KTM, who have two teams in MotoGP, and for MotoGP, as MV as a big name in the world of racing. However, no official announcements have been made so far. It will be interesting to see how things will develop for MV after the deal. Let's keep an eye on that. And now let's switch to Eicma and we'll start probably the most long-awaited bike, the new Transalp. First, the looks. As the model was officially released, lots of discussion regarding the appearance of the bike started. And many people didn't like it as the bike is quite usual and lacks identity. Also, I tend to agree with. I have to say that many people buy such motorcycles for off-road adventures, and the appearance of the bike is of less critically compared to tech specs and reliability. So let's move to tech specs. Engine. As it expected, the bike has a 755cc parallel twin engine with 270-degree crankshaft, the engine borrowed from the new Hornet. Despite the lower capacity versus peers, the engine is quite powerful. It's 90.5 horsepower, only 4 horsepower less than the 850 GS. Torque is also reasonable for such capacity, it's 75 Nm. Weight is of utmost importance for mid-size adventure bikes. Honda claims to have worked hard on weight reduction. The bike has a steel frame with integrated subframe which weighed only 18.3 kilos, 10% less compared to smaller CB500X. As a result, the total weight is 208 kilos, also the tank is quite small, it's 16.9 liters. The weight is competitive versus peers. KTM 890 has a total weight of 210 kilos with a 20-liter tank. Aprilia Touareg total weight is 204 kilos with 15-liter tank. The standard height is 850 mm, but 820 mm high seat will be available as an option. Now let's talk about off-road capabilities. The motorcycle has a slipper clutch with assistance, which makes it 30% easier to pull the clutch. If you are wondering why this is an important feature, try taking this bike to a hardcore off-road route. Suspension. At front we have a 43mm adjustable for rebound upside-down fork with 200mm travel by Showa. At the rear we also have a Showa with 190mm travel with adjustable preload. This is not too bad, but obviously less suitable for hardcore off-road and far off from the specs of the market leaders. Fully adjustable suspensions with 240mm travel. It's also a bit weird not to have engine protection in standard version. The exhaust is not protected at all. The bike has off-road type of wheels. It's spoked wheels, 21-inch at front and 18 at the rear. The brakes are a bit weak to 310mm discs at front with only 2 piston calipers. Electronics. Transalp has 5 riding modes: Sport, Standard, Terrain, Gravel and Custom. The modes can be chosen and adjusted on a 5-inch TFT dashboard. On top of that, there are 4 engine modes, 3 engine brake modes and 5 levels of traction control. The bike has anti-wheelie traction control and ABS, which can be turned off. One can also connect a phone to the motorcycle. The price has not been announced, but with specs like that, the bike should not be more expensive than Tenere 700. We'll see. 2 more new bikes from Japan by Suzuki. Both the models GSX-8S and V-Strom 800DE share the same 776cc parallel twin engine. Let's start with the naked one. Suzuki claims that they targeted the gap in the market. Those riders for whom Yamaha MT-07 is too small and MT-09 is a bit too expensive. Let's have a look at the appearance. In my view, the looks are a bit mixed, but the motorcycle definitely has much more of identity than the new Hornet. Suzuki states that they paid special attention to detail to differentiate the bike from its mid-size peers. I personally like the subframe. Its 2-color version looks really nice. The engine is completely new, parallel twin with 270-degree crankshaft. If you are keen to learn why almost all the producers currently use this configuration, check out any video about crankshaft configurations. Suzuki were considering an upgrade to V-twin of SV650, but realized that a parallel twin is more preferable configuration in terms of dimensions and weight distribution. To get rid of vibrations, Suzuki used double balance shaft called Suzuki Cross Balancer. The shafts are 90 degrees to pistons, with each of the shaft balancing the primary vibrations of the piston, and the ignition interval is 450 degrees, which according to Suzuki is optimal for both road and off-road use in terms of regaining tractions between power impulses. And yeah, the engine has 83 horsepower. The bike also has slipper clutch with assistance and a 2-way quick shifter operating with a 6-gear transmission. The tank is quite small, it's just 14 liters. The frame is made of steel, which means more weight, but on the other hand is rigid and allows for multi-platform use, which was important for Suzuki. The electronic package is standard for Japanese bikes of the segment: ride-by-wire, several riding modes, traction control, etc. But nothing more complex, such as IMU. The price has not been announced, but I expect to be not more expensive than the new Hornet. V-Strom. Surprisingly enough, the new midsize V-Strom turned out to be more off-road oriented than the new Transalp. Let's have a closer look. The engine is the same as we have just discussed. It's 83 horsepower at 8500 RPM. Suzuki emphasized the fact that they paid extra attention to throttle valve during off-road use to allow for easier torque control. The bike got a new engine mode, gravel, obviously for better use on gravel. Interestingly enough, the frame is the same as a naked version. Also, the subframe is different. It's stronger as it was designed for long rides with a passenger and 3 cases. The swing arm is aluminum with a fully adjustable 220mm monoshock, not bad at all. The bike has an upside-down fork by Showa, also fully adjustable with 220mm travel. It seems more and more that Suzuki did something that people expected from Honda. The wheels are spoke tube type, 21-inch at front and somehow 17 at the rear. It's the first time that V-Strom got a 21-inch wheel. Suzuki also aimed to make the bike more travel-friendly and equipped it with a 20-liter tank, again better than Transalp. Standard seat height is 855mm, but there are higher and lower options as well. There are other useful travel options such as cases, heated grips, fog lights, etc. The only thing which is a bit disappointed is the weight. V-Strom has a total weight of 230 kilograms, almost 20 kilograms more than their leading peers. The price has not been announced yet, but if it's somewhere near Transalp, Transalp will be in trouble. Let's switch from mass-market bikes to something more unique and maybe even weird. Bimota have presented an enduro bike. As you probably know, Kawasaki holds a 50% stake in Bimota, so Kawasaki leadership decided to do something cool for the public and developed a bike based on its KX450X. So what's the bike about? It has a 459cc 1-cylinder Kawasaki engine with 2 camshafts, liquid-cooled. Aluminum frame also comes from Kawasaki, as well as the engine control system and all of the electronics. The bike weighs only 110 kilograms. So, what's new? Color scheme, front light and handguards. The tank is bigger, 10.7 liters instead of 6.2. Exhaust is also proprietary, made by Aero with Bimota sign on it. The rest seems to be Kawasaki, 49 upside-down fork and monoshock with 305mm and 307mm travel respectively. ground clearance of 335mm, 5-gear transmission and so on. The price has not been announced, but if it is way higher than Kawasaki, the bike would not make too much sense for me. Let's continue to Kawasaki news. I have mentioned several times their plans on electric and hybrid models. So Kawasaki have finally launched them, not as production models but as prototypes. Two electric motorcycles were presented to the public. The smaller one is pretty much the size of a Ninja 125, has a 3 kWh battery and is A1 license friendly. The bigger one looks like Ninja 650, and this is all that we know about it. The hybrid model is the most interesting one. First of all, the sales are expected to start as early as in 2024. Secondly, the specs are still not clear. We can see a parallel twin derived either from Ninja 250 or from Ninja 400, coupled with a big electric motor located behind gearbox and connected to a transmission via clutch. The side view of the bike is quite interesting. It seems disproportionately long, which was a measure taken by Kawasaki to fit in everything that has to fit in. It's a pity that most of the details have not been disclosed. By the way, Kawasaki also presented a hydrogen-fueled H2 engine, again without any detail. All in all, I have an impression that Kawasaki had some plans for Eicma but failed to deliver on half of them. Let us see that they present it next year. Final piece of news for today: a new power cruiser from a Chinese producer, Benda. What's interesting about the model is the looks and the V4 engine, also just 500cc of displacement. Somewhat provocative given the associations that it brings. In racing, black flag means disqualification. In ships industry, a black flag doesn't bring anything good either. The idea that Benda might have had behind such naming is some kind of a bad guy. The 500cc engine delivers 56 horsepower, not too bad for this engine capacity. On the other hand, the bike weighed too much versus peers, 241 kilograms. But the appearance of the bike more than compensates for such an overweight. It looks massive and impressive. Not sure if the bike will look as cool in real life, but on the pictures it's just great. The motorcycle has a low seat, a wide handlebar and pegs located in the front. Among interesting options, the bike has cruise control and even pneumatic suspension. Two of the cylinders can get switched off for fuel efficiency, same as on Ducati Diavel. Unfortunately, price has not been announced. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. I would appreciate your feedback and comments. See you next Friday.